Hello there, and in this video, the question that was being asked was how do you improve emotional intelligence in the workplace? Well, we're really covering organizations in general, right? We've talked in another video how to improve it individually. Now we're going to talk about how to improve it corporately. So stay tuned as we delve into that. Well, whether the organization, I'm going to talk about schools specifically, but you can use this as parallel, whether it's business, the workplace, schools, what have you. But in the context of schools, we want to be talking about teachers or the everyday worker, right? And then the students and their parents or the customer base. And then you want to be talking about the systems that you operate on and the structures that you utilize. All those things, whether it's a school or corporate environment, need to be delved into and discussed. And that's exactly what we'll be doing next. I'm going to focus on this particular video on education, part because I know it well. Two, we can apply the principles beyond education. But it is so vital if our educational institutions model this because we're dealing with the next generation as well. So that's kind of why I'm going to focus this particular one on education. And if you're from the corporate world, you can see how we apply it. The first idea with the education is you want to start with the teachers, the people who are going to be kind of modeling it on an everyday basis. When you can empower the teachers to live it their own lives, right? Again, this through that self-awareness and self-regulation and humility and all of those things. And they're modeling it every day. They become much more effective at communicating with, building relationship with their students. When teachers are under stress and are feeling the stress and the culture is a stressed or toxic environment, as it was in my wife's school near the end of her life and teaching career, it's not healthy for anybody in any situation. So you need to begin focusing on teachers and helping them develop emotional intelligence by teaching them what it takes, giving them the opportunities to develop it, establishing a culture where they can feel safe exploring their own emotional intelligence, emphasizing this, and that's where you should really start because they're going to be the ones who are going to have so much influence within the culture of the entire school community. The next process is getting parents engaged in this, right? The more we can help them and give them opportunities and teach them about emotional intelligence and prepare our vision for them and their children, the better the results are going to be. They are really our customer base, right? So if you're thinking in terms of like from a corporate kind of word or world, you're focusing on your customers and really making sure they're happy. So in this case, it's the parents. Yes, your student is the consumer of what you are offering in schools, but it's the parents who are the ones who are kind of directing all that and paying for it through their taxes and all the other ways that parents get involved. So we want to make sure they feel involved and they are on board with a lot of the same languaging and understanding of what emotional intelligence is. When they are involved and going through this development, this process, along with the teachers and the students, great things truly happen. So ultimately, in this model that we're talking about with emotional intelligence, the students are the ones who we really want to get because they are next generation. You know, Whitney Houston's song, The Greatest Love of All, has a stanza in it that is very appropriate. And that is, teach our children well so that they can lead the way. Let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride. Right? Those lines are really about emotional intelligence. So we want to weave that in to our structure, our systems, our behavioral model, how we communicate with students. It does not necessarily have to directly be a class, although things like my mindset training, so I put a little plug in for that, but it's when you help students develop beliefs like people are your greatest resource. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Those sort of beliefs about themselves, building themselves up, and how important their relationships are with people. When you foster that from earliest stages all the way up, and we're constantly living it, presenting that, projecting that, anything, talking about that, you are weaving into the culture this emotional intelligence. You're helping them, empowering them to develop those values and those beliefs that are at the heart of emotional intelligence. So thinking about how to structure your schools to do that should be priority number one. So the structures that you create, the systems you create, the communication systems you create in schools, the discipline systems, in the work environment places is how you promote and reward and encourage. And that's true in schools too. When you talk about the systems, is how do you handle discipline and behavioral challenges and growth in students. The structure of that, when it is an emotionally intelligent structure, is much more likely to not be just dealing with the symptoms and reacting to the problems, but creating a culture where people police themselves. They have deeper internal regulation themselves. They aren't reactive because you've been showing them and teaching them how to manage their own emotions. And a lot of those issues, those real behavioral challenges that some schools face are related to students who don't have regulation. There's no systems in place. There's no understanding about this. They are very reactive, and there's no culture within the school community that's not operating well. It's a dysfunctional one to curb that or to interrupt those patterns. So a highly emotionally intelligent, functioning school system is going to have systems in place to teach it, to model it, to ingrain that into the way people think. One of the last pieces I want to talk about, is celebrate stories, celebrate success. When people are exhibiting emotional intelligence, you want to share that, you want to honor that, you want to celebrate it, ceremonialize it. We've lost in some ways the pomp and circumstance that can be powerful symbols of what we want people to strive for. So we need to find a way to bring that back into the culture of a school community or business, if you're talking about that, where we make these people's stories who've exhibited the behaviors and the emotional intelligence, those characteristics, those attributes that we want to recognize. We make those something we all can celebrate and honor, something for other people to strive for, something to look up to. So that sort of structure system needs to be in place where we can share those stories of success. We can honor the people. We can build them up, and we can present a representation, a symbol, something to strive for everybody else. Well, that just wraps up this particular video, and I would encourage you to check out some of our other videos. In particular, you might be interested in checking out the video, Why Emotional Intelligence is Important in Leadership. And as always, consider subscribing to our channel, because that's how you can help us by getting this more visible. So people who need to hear these messages can find them, and we can empower people in that way. So subscribe to the channel, come back and check out some other videos.